The Home Team, heard right here on the Tan Talk Radio Network and Facebook Live. The Home Team with Paul Porter, talking Lightning, Bucks, Rays, USF, and a whole lot more. Your calls and prize giveaways. Join us this Saturday, every Saturday morning, for the Home Team, 9 to 11 on the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Tune in Saturdays from 3 to 5 p.m. for Miss Sarah's Dynamic Gospel Power Show. That's 2 hours of great gospel music every Saturday from 3 to 5 p.m., all brought to you by the Ozona Pig Restaurant in Ozona. Yes, that's every Saturday from 3 to 5 p.m. It's Miss Sarah's Dynamic Gospel Power Show. Tune in on the Tan Talk Radio Network.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
It's now time for Connecting Caregivers with author, speaker, caregiver advocate, and talk show host Linda Burhans, the gal who cares for caregivers.
The birds around the world today. It's time to lift you up. It's time to celebrate. Good afternoon and welcome to Connecting Caregivers with me, Linda Burhans, the gal who cares for the caregivers with love, laughter, and lessons learned. On the show where you can find help and hope. And with me is my best friend. It's been weeks. My co-host and my sidekick, not psychic, Lynn Thornley.
Good afternoon. Good to be here.
I know. When I picked you up for the show today, she got in the car. I just felt so good. So we've been friends for how many years?
20.
45-ish.
I don't want to stop it because people could start calculating.
Yes.
You know?
Yes, but I'm so happy you're here today.
Yes, it's good to be here.
And we have Mr. Ed on the boards. How you doing, Ed?
Yeah, I'm always here, but if she's your best friend, why is she wearing a dunce cap?
And you know what? It does have a big head.
I was going to say, the hat's a little too small or your head's too big, one or the other.
Or maybe a little of both.
Well, I do have a
But
big
you know, Ed, you love it when she brings them hats in.
Well, I
and
knew
stuff.
she would. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like one last hit for the holidays.
Well, we got New Year's coming. I'm going to have to look.
Oh, my goodness.
Here's get those 2025 glasses. That's you can knock that off real quick.
I have some 2000s. I'll use
2000.
those.
Remember the 2000
Yes.
Y2K?
Yeah.
Oh, the world's coming to an end.
Yeah. We're
So,
still here.
I lived in New York, and a bunch of us flew down, and we stayed with Manning's on the Bay,
Yeah.
on Gulf Boulevard, and it was like a little mom and pop kind of place. It was $50 a night, and like 10 of us or 12 of us
at least.
flew down and everything. And then the one night, one of the last nights, we were on the second floor, and my daughter and her boyfriend were with us, and they were like 20 years old at the time, and they're hanging out with the guy downstairs. It was Kid Rock.
Uh-huh.
He was
I didn't know
wanna
who
be
it was
in a,
at the
He didn't
time.
want to be in a fancy hotel or nothing. But we're all like waiting. Y2K, everything's going to stop. Lynn made all these glasses.
I know.
Happy New Year 2000.
I know. It was fun.
It was very fun.
And they said our computers weren't going to work. I was hoping.
It didn't even burp.
No, darn it.
Nothing.
Because I keep saying they're going out of style soon.
Yeah.
You know, it took me 2 months to get my
Just like that laser disc player, you know?
my Alexa did not work since they changed my password and everything else. I finally got it hooked up after a month. And I was doing it on my phone, and they went on my iPad. It goes, somebody's trying to get into your account. I said, let them. Let them.
Enough
Anyway.
already.
I'm on it. I'm on. Because Christmas tunes, like I didn't decorate much because I was sick. And my sister said, at least we'll have music. I'm going, oh gosh, my Alexa doesn't work. My Alexa doesn't work. So then I went on the TV. Look, how do you find music on the TV? Which I did. 411, I think, is the channel. So that you know.
On Spectrum.
On Spectrum.
But see, now Jen bought me a Roku.
I know. You just have to talk.
Oh my God. I just push the little button and say, Miracle on 34th Street, Spectrum News, whatever I want, and it comes up.
I don't like that Alexa now talks to me by name.
She's very polite, though.
Yeah, but
you know, when
I never gave her my name before.
Really? Mine cursed at me the other day.
No way. You're lying.
I swear I did.
No, I'll say to her, thank you very much, Alexa. And she says, you're very welcome.
I say thank you.
Oh,
She
you
never
made my
said.
day, right?
Yeah, well, I'm glad I got that working, but I don't get your doorbell ringing on it anymore.
That's a good thing.
No, I liked it, and I knew if you have any friends over and you didn't invite me.
You're so funny. How many times did she walk Charlie today?
Yeah.
But anyway, So I want to give a shout out to our newest listeners. We have Janice in Clearwater, we have Anna in Tampa, and we have Kelly in St. Pete.
Welcome, ladies.
And like we always like to say, there's plenty of room around the Connecting Caregivers table for more listeners, whether you listen to us when we're live on the radio or on Facebook or YouTube or my website or wherever in cyberspace you can find. My grandson said to me this morning, I Googled you, Grandma.
And there was lots there.
He goes, yeah, there's a lot of stuff there.
Tell him to Google me. I tried it. Silence. I don't go by my real name on my Facebook.
She's just a warrior on Facebook.
So I Google me. I'm not there.
No, but, well, that's why I say to my family, they say, like, tape your parents' voices and stuff before they pass away. They're like, we've heard enough of you already.
No, but they can get it from anywhere from you.
No. But I'm pleased to announce that we had the Caregiver Contest winner this week. And her name is Anne Marie Mason, and she lives in Illinois. Anne Marie takes care of her mother and her husband. And 2 different people nominated her. So let me go get back to the beginning here. We have a caregiver contest, 24/7, 364 days a week at my website, lindaburhans.com. Because people are like, oh, I didn't get a chance. What? Any caregiver that's nominated receives a small gift. And then all the rest we put in a basket. And once a quarter, we just pick out one name because you're all winners to us. And that was Anne Marie Mason this month. And she takes care of her mom and her husband. And she said, just the point of someone nominating me made me feel like a whole new person. Just made me feel, because, we always ask, how's your loved one doing? We never ask how you're doing, and then we do ask the caregiver how you're doing. This is what they say all the time. I'm okay. Which is a big fat lie. But anyway, so Anne-Marie, I sent out this morning a gift basket. And it are some Amazon gift cards, some Visa gift cards, a gift certificate for a massage in your area.
Wow.
Yeah, wasn't that cool?
Very cool.
Massage Envy has places in different areas.
Because Illinois is the center of everything, they say.
It was very nice. Some books, some information, some sweets, some wonderful things. So thank you, Anne-Marie, for all you do. And the rest of you, you know a caregiver. You all know a caregiver. Just go to my website, lindaburhans.com, and nominate them. So I'm so happy to have Anita Camacho with me today. Welcome.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
So Maureen Famiano hooked us up. Maureen and I have been friends for a few years, and she's the bomb.
She is the bomb.
She's here while you're saying that.
She knows how to hook up people. She's a connector, and I love when I meet somebody who's a connector, because there are so many wonderful people doing wonderful things everywhere in the world, but especially in this Tampa Bay area. But you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
So I had no idea about anything you did or about your project or anything until she told me about it. So tell us a little bit about your background and how it led to what you're doing today.
Well, my background, I'm actually a CPA by trade. I've been an accountant for over 30 years. I stopped counting. And
I think that's the way to go.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I think so. You got to just, you give up accounting, you stop counting.
Yeah.
Right?
There you go.
So I made a transition, and for a while, my mother was diagnosed with Parkinson's about 30 years ago. So when I learned of her diagnosis, I really had no understanding of the disease,
right.
And started doing a lot of research. The only thing I knew about it was the shaking, and it was a long rabbit hole of information, and took me down a lot of other rabbit holes, and I just really wanted to bring to the forefront in any way I could, effects of this. I kept finding toxic pesticide exposure all over the place, and I thought,
my brother has Parkinson's.
So she's a gardener. My grandmother's a gardener. I was a gardener. I did roses and butterflies, and I thought, okay, I'm done spraying. And they say, well, you can't grow roses in Florida. I've been a champion rose grower, so I don't compete any longer. But I thought, well, I guess I'll be done growing roses in Florida. I still grow roses. They still look fine. I haven't sprayed or used fertilizers or chemicals in 30 years. I stopped cold turkey. And I said, okay, well, let's see what happens.
Yeah.
And they didn't look so good for about 6 months while they kind of had to go through their own recovery and build up their own immunity.
Yeah.
So basically what I discovered is what we're doing with all these chemicals is we're stripping the plant's natural defense mechanism to defend itself on its own.
Just like we're doing to people.
Yeah, exactly. So the roses got stronger, and I haven't needed chemicals. I haven't had black spot, thrips, any of the bugs in all these years. And I was, going through all these shenanigans and all these chemicals, which I used very little compared to what was recommended. And it was not necessary.
Yeah.
So it kind of led me down this path. And as I go on a lot of trips, I always seek out butterfly exhibits and gardens and things like that because I've always been passionate about butterflies.
Well, they're so beautiful.
So that ended up, I said, well, let's just put this together and figure out how butterflies can be the hook. And so we, going through all these venues, I said, well, there's nothing like this in Tampa. So let's put something together that we focus on the little creatures that run the earth, I say. And without the bugs, I know a lot of people don't like bugs, but they're keeping us alive.
Yeah.
It's
Not the palmettos, though.
Oh,
They're not helping any. No,
well, they eat mosquito eggs, so you got to give them some credit for that.
Okay.
They also.
Everybody has a purpose.
Most things have a purpose. I'm trying to figure out what mosquitoes' purposes are.
Yeah.
Other than they are somewhat of a
Bugging me.
pollinator, but bugging us. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's been an incredible journey, and I've been navigating out of the accounting realm. Almost finished with that this year, and building up our environmental business and getting the word out, and a lot of native plants, which helps also because they belong in Florida. They evolved here,
Right.
and the
That's why they
gardening is easier.
last.
That's exactly, and they survive hurricanes.
That's why
Yeah.
we only have one palm tree that's native to Florida, and my other one died. That little Robolini. None of them are from here except one, and the one that lives forever. It's true. It's from here.
Yeah, they last, and they provide a lot of benefits to the ecosystem, and they feed the creatures and provide habitat and all the things necessary for survival. And they say it's 30% of the food we eat, 1 in 3 bites, right? But with 90% of the flowering plants being pollinated by pollinators, I think it's much greater than that. Someone threw out a 30% number at one point and it stuck. But it's much bigger than that. So we've really got to rethink our connection with nature. And it starts with the bottom of the food chain. And it's,
like people think bad about bees.
Well,
we need the bees. We need the honey.
Well, and the honeybees aren't even native to the U.S., but they were brought here to do pollination. And there's a lot of struggles with honeybees. Most of the beekeepers lose over a third of their bees every year due to colony collapse and disease and other issues. And they're very stressed. They're being put in a box, carted all over the place, then put in a monoculture crop, and okay, go pollinate. And it takes them a few days to kind of figure it all out.
Yeah.
So, and stress is not good for anything. It's not good for humans. It's not good for animals, and not good for bees and or pollinators. So it really does create a lot of issues. And where we see increased disease with people that have stress, well, we're seeing the same thing with the animals and the other creatures. So,
interesting. My
So we
friend
should
lost
eat
all her bees
organic?
from the hurricanes.
Well, organic isn't really pesticide free.
It's not.
No,
I thought it was.
It's less pesticides if you kind of look into the regulations of what's required to be organic.
It's the same thing with the food. If you go to Publix or one of the organic places or whatever, a lot of it's very similar.
I like the commercial for Purdue Chicken where they say they're just throwing antibiotics at the chickens. They're not even sick. And they just throw antibiotics, and then there's one lady throwing it on her car that's smoking all the antibiotics. I love it.
It's scary.
Well, it is
It
because
is.
I was on antibiotics for a year, and now I don't think they work so well on me.
No, it can basically reduce your ability to fight off
Yeah.
things, So it's not good to be on them constantly.
No.
So you have
So-
a nursery.
So we have a native plant nursery now that I opened during the pandemic and during
There
the
was gifts
shutdown.
of COVID.
Well, it was one of those things. We were actually planning on a butterfly exhibit, big butterfly exhibit, and because the city, of course, had other things going on during COVID, we kind of pivoted and said, well, let's start with the nursery because that's what the outcome is supposed to be anyway. The goal is to get more natives into the landscape, get rid of the exotics as much as possible, stop spraying. We don't need the thirsty lawns, the wall-to-wall green carpet that serves no ecological benefit. It pretty much just takes out of our wallets and contributes bad things into our environment. So it's just been kind of an all around benefit. I didn't, as an accountant, true to form, we are used to deadlines. And it was a Wednesday right after the tax deadline, and it was Earth Day coming up. I said, I really need to do something.
Day. I remember the first Earth Day. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I said, well, I'm going to get 2 truckloads of plants and sell them. I had lots of friends in my butterfly group that were always asking me for plants whenever I'd go to the North Florida, South Florida, and I'd end up with my van full of everyone else's plants and not a lot of room for my own. So I said, I'm going to get 2 truckloads of plants. I posted on social media and sent out an e-blast to the butterfly group. And I said, I'll take pre-orders a couple of days. We're going to do the sale on Saturday. So it gave me a couple days. and we sold out of plants in 5 hours on Saturday.
Wow.
And so I said, well, that went well. Yes, it's COVID and people are doing a lot more gardening, but it really said educated. There was a need, and we don't have another native plant store in Tampa. And so I said, well, let's get this going. And so we opened our formal location in August that year, and we'd had a couple other pop-ups after. And we decided to kind of include the venue there as well. So we've got our living exhibit, nature center, our bug zoo, and a butterfly garden. So it's a place to come and get at peace with nature and enjoy butterflies and learn about a lot of the creatures that are very misunderstood.
Yeah, I go to the botanical gardens all the time right over here. Mm-hmm. And during COVID, nobody wants to meet you or anything. So we would just meet there and just walk 6 feet apart.
Sure.
And walk in these beautiful flowers and nature and chat. I think there were gifts of COVID.
There's gifts, and I think absolutely, because it got people to go outside for a little while and take note. And nature made a pretty good rebound during the time where we weren't moving around as humans, and we could see that very quickly. But I know that a lot of people will come in and they'll sit down and they'll just sit in the butterfly garden, and they're like, it's just so peaceful.
You just see them de-stress.
It's so peaceful. And we're right off Henderson Blvd. It's a very busy 4-lane road in South Tampa, and you can go back there and watch the butterflies, and it just sort of takes you away from all the craziness that's going on in the world. And my mother-in-law has Alzheimer's, and my mother's, as I mentioned, has Parkinson's. So they both come and visit. And my mother-in-law was there the other day. She says, it's just so peaceful out here. It's so relaxing. Uh-huh. And just that alone, she actually was more engaged, more alert, and able to carry on a conversation better than she typically does. And I think just the relaxation of it all. And it just really that's what nature does.
Well, there's no walls.
Right.
There's no walls. There's no really wrong or right. Mm-hmm. It's just breathing. So much of it is breathing and opening your eyes and smelling. I just love the smell of grass. I love the smell of dirt. Mm-hmm. I'm not one that has my hands in it a lot, but I like it.
Yeah, with those nails.
But I like it.
I don't know. My nails are good, and I'm in the dirt a lot. That's what gloves are for.
Yeah. But really, there's something about nature. There's something about getting out there. So how big is your property?
It's not big. I say we're small but mighty. And, bugs don't take up a lot of space. So exhibiting them is it doesn't require us to have a tremendous space. Our facility square footage on the building is about 8,500 total. Part of that's storage and warehouse. Mm-hmm. And then we have the backyard is not included, which is our butterfly garden. And we're hoping to get our pergola installed this year. So it'll be another nice place to sit in the shade, in addition to some of the other spots we have.
And so when are you open?
We're open 7 days a week.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
Well, you got to get on it.
Everybody stresses every day.
Every day, 7 days a week, mm-hmm. right? It's always a break. So we're open 7 days a week. And
so how do you start out your day? You just go walk out there and go... Or do you tell everybody else to do it?
Well, no.
She's in the accounting department.
Yeah.
No, I actually have somebody else helping me.
Good for you.
Good for you.
I basically start the day off. I always start my day off in the butterfly lab. That's my happy place. And checking on them and making sure, seeing what needs to happen in the butterfly lab. And there's usually butterflies that have emerged in the emergence cabinet. So get them prepared to be released for the day. And then I go outside and just walk through the garden, walk through the nursery, and, just look at everything and see what I can see that needs to be done. But usually my team is pretty on it. So I don't have to
I didn't realize there were so many kinds of butterflies and names because when you play that game, Wordscape, there's one day and it's butterflies and they merge but there's so many and the colors. I didn't know there's yellow. There's
every color you can imagine.
It's unbelievable. I always think of the red ones and maybe a blue one. We don't get that many.
Yellow and black and whatever. But right now it's time to hear from our wonderful partners. So don't go away. We'll be right back on Connecting Caregivers Radio. And I want to talk more about the butterflies. Okay, you got it on?
The Tan Talk Radio Network.
Arden Courts is not just a place to live. It's a place to call home. Residential living combined with quality caregiving. This is the philosophy behind Arden Courts. Communities created exclusively for individuals with Alzheimer's disease and related dementia who would benefit from a safe and structured environment. For additional information about any of the unique services Arden Courts provides, call 888-478-2410 to locate a community nearest you. Inquire about our educational seminars, resource library, or support groups, or simply feel free to ask questions you may have about Alzheimer's and related dementias. At Arden Courts, we know, we understand, and we can help because memory care is all we do. Remember, call 888-478-2410 for additional information about any of the unique services Arden Courts provides.
Are you getting older, or are you taking care of somebody who is? You know, getting older creates new problems you probably never imagined. One of the big ones is, how do you pay for care? Care in your home, care in an assisted living facility, or care in a nursing home. Did you know that nursing home care in our community can cost up to $12,000 per month? For the last 33 years, our office has helped families access benefits, including Medicaid, VA, and PACE, to help pay for the cost of long-term care. Regardless of what your assets are or what your income is, you can qualify for these benefits. Proper planning and guidance are absolutely necessary to avoid being wiped out. Let us help. If you are in care or heading in that direction, we can help solve that problem. Take action now to obtain benefits to pay for the cost of care. Here are the 4 things that you need to do. 1, get a new power of attorney. Your old one probably isn't good enough. Get a healthcare surrogate and a living will. 3, get an estate plan that will not disqualify you from benefits. And 4, get a plan to qualify for Medicaid, PACE, or VA benefits to pay for the long-term care costs. Call us today for a free consultation, 727-539-0181, or go to flmedicaid.com and download our free book on Medicaid and planning for long-term care. I'm Sean Scott. I'm here to help.
My mom was getting older, but she was able to live pretty independently until recently. When her case manager told me she would be discharged from rehab in just a few days, I didn't know what to do. But I knew for sure that she couldn't go back living alone at home. So that's when I contacted Sunway's Senior Living Concierge. My Senior Living Concierge, Lisa, was there for me through the whole process and was a free service for us to compare in-home care options and how that cost would compare to assisted living. With Lisa's help, we found a great new home for Mom, and she is thriving. Take it from me, don't go through this journey alone.
Hi, I'm Ellie Baldwin, co-founder and president of Sunway's Senior Living Concierge. We're a free placement and concierge service for families to help compare senior living communities and find the best place for you or a loved one. Call us today at 727-314-6451 or find us online at sunwayseniorliving.com.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
And we are back, and I love Sunway's Senior Living Concierge. They've really helped some of my caregivers, and finally, recently one of my caregivers made the decision for her loved one to go into a community, and that's one of the biggest things I get in support groups is when is it time, when is it time? And my 2 things is when is it time is when they're not safe anymore, when you're ready to jump off a bridge. That's when you definitely know it's time. But I have to tell you that 99% of the time, when they make a decision for their loved one to go into the community, the loved one does just fine, and it's the caregiver's issue. Mm-hmm. They think they're going to miss me, but they're there now, and they're engaged, and they're doing things, and they're just sitting around. So just think about that, because I don't want you to put your health in jeopardy or the happiness of your loved one by you thinking you can just do it by yourself when it gets to be a little overwhelming. So you might have to go to the butterfly gardens to chill out a little bit.
They should have those at the assisted living.
They should.
We have installed several at memory
Have
care
you?
facilities and other facilities. Yes.
Oh, wow.
That's fabulous. So where are you located?
We're in South Tampa, in Florida.
Where?
South
On
Tampa-
Henderson.
On Henderson Boulevard near Lois.
Okay. And your website again?
Butterflytampa.com.
All right, so let's talk a little bit more about the butterflies because I just think that's absolutely fascinating. So start with me from the start to the get-go.
Well,
So somebody says, I want to have a butterfly garden in my yard, in my whatever.
it's so easy.
Okay,
It
so
really
tell
is
us.
easy. And if they need help with it, we can always help them as well. So we say we could start with 2 plants. You have
Okay.
a host plant and a nectar plant. So the host plant's to feed the caterpillars. The butterflies will lay eggs on their host plant. Each butterfly is very specific about what they will eat. So if we'll talk about the most famous duo of all, which is the monarch. Monarchs need milkweed, and they need native milkweed to be healthy. They can't eat this stuff. They can eat, but they shouldn't eat the stuff that's not from their area.
Okay.
It is making them very sick, and there's a lot of science behind that. But so you get a milkweed, and milkweeds will bloom at certain times of the year if they're not munched on all the way down. But there's certain milkweeds that bloom a lot more readily. Like there's an aquatic milkweed. Doesn't mean it has to be in water, but it likes to be wet. And when the rainy season fills up the ditches, it still does really well. So it kind of takes all the things Florida throws at it, grows in full shade to full sun all year long. So it's always available, and it does repeat bloom a lot more often than other milkweeds do. So that is actually all in one if it's blooming. But monarchs really like big nectar sources, big flowers.
Okay.
They can't nectar and flutter at the same time. So they actually need to land on something, have a nice landing pad because they're a big butterfly. So we recommend something that's going to have a much bigger flower.
Like hibiscus?
They're not going to use hibiscus, but they'll use things like starry rosinweed. You might not be familiar with. There's a nice big native flower. Blanket flower is very common. A lot of people see those. They're kind of got an orange outer and then a yellow center. But they
still explain to me the basis. So I buy these plants,
Mm-hmm.
I put them in my yard, and what happens?
Well, if you buy any milkweed, monarchs are going to show up pretty quickly.
Really?
Sometimes within minutes.
They just know?
They find it. They taste with their feet. They can find their plants pretty quickly.
And when you buy that at any store?
Well, the native species you're going to only find at a native nursery.
And you're the only native nursery?
In Tampa, yeah.
There you go.
There's another one in Pinellas and Largo, which is Wilcox.
I know Wilcox.
So, yeah. So
that's our old neighborhood.
Right. Yeah. So they sell a lot of natives as well, but you need to find a native nursery. And
okay.
You can typically find those if you go on to plantrealflorida.org. You can find a native nursery near you in Florida. And I'm sure most states have some sort of mechanism to find a plant finder or plant nursery finder for natives, because there's a lot of organizations trying to grow the native landscapes everywhere.
All right. So I buy these plants.
Mm-hmm.
So they come there and they...
So the butterflies will lay eggs on the host plant, and the eggs, when they hatch after about a week or so, the caterpillar will start eating the host plant, and it grows and grows. Usually goes through 5 instars, sheds its skin 5 times, and makes a chrysalis.
And how period of time?
Well, it's an egg for about a week, and it's a caterpillar for about another week to 10 days, depending on time of year.
Okay.
Maybe 2 weeks, it can slow down, especially in the wintertime.
Okay.
And then it's in chrysalis for about a week or so, and then it emerges as a butterfly. So it's about a 30-day cycle in the summer and 45 days or so in the winter.
And then it just flies away.
And then it just, warms its wings, and usually they emerge in the morning, most commonly, early in the morning, and then that way when the sun's up and they get their wings warm, they can take off. And they have a short lifespan, so they have a short amount of time to find a buddy and breed, and then do it all over again. Most species are going to live 2 to 4 weeks.
And they're going to eat the plant, the caterpillar is, so you don't want it in your pretty garden.
Well, usually what we suggest is you mix those in with your wildflowers. So you've got your wildflowers that are constantly repeat blooming, and they're kind of, when the milkweed is eaten up, then it's kind of hidden, so to speak. But
because you got to be careful, don't spray it, in other words.
You don't want to spray anything.
No.
No chemicals at all. We don't use fertilizers. We don't use chemicals. We don't use any herbicides or anything in our landscapes. It's just not necessary. And these plants evolved in their sandy soil here, so they thrive in our Florida sandy soil.
So how much is it going to cost me to start a garden?
Well, if you just want to do a couple plants, you're talking $20.
Wow.
You know?
That's unbelievable.
Merry Christmas.
Right? So we do butterfly gardens in a pot, which our bigger pots are, going to have 4 plants, and you can do it in a pot. Of course, plants really like to be in the ground, but you can do it in a pot on your balcony.
Right.
Butterflies can fly 10,000 feet, some of them. So
Wow.
they can definitely find things up higher if they need to, and they will. Some species are lower to the ground, so it really just depends on what you're trying to attract and what your goals are, what your space looks like, your sun exposure, if it's a lot of shade or a lot of sun. So we take all these factors into consideration. A lot of people will bring us pictures so we can see what their space looks like, and then we can help them plan it. And then some people want us to do the whole shebang for them.
Oh, so you come and you do that?
So we'll come and kind of plan a garden with them and
educate them,
and so they know what to do. It's less maintenance, but it's not no maintenance. So there's a little bit of work to do, but it's a lot less than any other
look
landscape.
What you got.
Yeah. And then you get a lot of movement, and it's usually pretty quickly.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so besides coming to your place just to buy plants or whatever, do you have educational things going on there?
Education is a huge part of what we do. All the time, every day. All of our horticulture staff, they are, they're all, we call them nature interpreters. Right.
She's got it. Thank you.
And our nature interpreters are there to educate people on the plants. Also, they know about the butterflies, what plants will attract certain butterflies, and they know the plants that will grow in different locations. And then we have our education venue, of course, which is our bug zoo and our nature center and our butterfly garden. And all throughout, we've got educational panels. The curator for our invertebrates and our reptiles are there to answer questions about all the creatures that we have on exhibit. And then our horticulture people will also be, they're also available in the garden to answer questions about the demonstration garden.
So what are some of the creatures you have on exhibit?
So we have natives and exotics, but most of our species, I would say probably 65% are native, because that's what our focus is. So we have lots of reptiles, lots of snakes. We have frogs, different species of frogs. We have some turtles and lots of different bugs.
Do you have classes for kids?
Yes, we do kid stuff all year long. So we do a lot of camps. We kind of coincide with Hillsborough County's days off. Mm-hmm. And so it's not just summer camp. For example, we have a Nature Wonderland camp coming up the last week of December for winter break. And we take New Year's Day off, but it's a 4-day camp that week. We do Martin Luther King Day. We've got spring break. We're doing beach bugs.
Cool.
Kind of a play on the Beach Boys. So, but there's a lot of bugs that live at the beach. So it's kind of, a whole different ecosystem. It's
also interesting. When my daughter was little, so we lived in New York, and we joined the Bronx Zoological mm-hmm. Society, and we went to this class. She was only 3. Mm-hmm. And we would go there, and we would get to see animals behind the scenes and how they fed them. And baby being boy, she got to hold a porcupine and all. And I just think that's so fabulous for kids. I mean, such an adventure, not just for the child, but for the person that's with them.
Absolutely.
For their mother, their grandmother, whoever.
And we hear all the time how much people learn, not just the kid. The kids love coming, and they just love being in touch with nature. And when they bring their parents or grandparents, we find that the adults are learning just as much as the kids a lot of times, because we've been taught some bad things that are just not true about these poor bugs. And their importance in our ecosystem is paramount. I mean, we cannot live without them.
Yeah, and people don't understand that.
No, I mean, without them, we're goners.
As long as they're next door. I don't like palmettos.
It's okay. You don't have to like everything.
You don't have to like them. But
they seem to like my house.
You must have good stuff for them.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So what are the hours that you're open?
So we're on our winter hour schedule. So we're open from 9 to 5, Monday through Saturday, and Sunday 11 to 5. And the venue, because butterflies tend to go to sleep around 4.
Okay.
They start to roost. So once the sun starts to go down and it's not as warm, they go and roost and they're done for the day. So they go to sleep earlier this time of year.
And
Some
how long
they're
do
up
they
till
live?
8.
How long did you say they live?
Most species are going to live 2 to 4 weeks. Our state butterfly, though, the zebra longwing, can live up to 9 months. It's different because it actually is evolved to digest pollen, not just nectar, which most butterflies, that's what they just sip nectar. But because they can eat pollen, they get those proteins and things that help them.
Are they black and white?
Black and yellow. Mm-hmm.
How cool.
Yeah.
So interesting. So have you ever thought about like doing something for caregivers there? You could just have somebody come with their loved one, get a bunch of people and just chill.
We have a lot of field trips. We have field trips from different facilities. So we have done quite a few of those. And I've also been to facilities giving presentations on butterflies.
All right, we need to talk about that.
Yeah, we do quite a bit of outreach. So.
Yeah, I'm planning with Arden Courts in February about doing a caregiver spa day.
Mm-hmm.
Just something for the caregiver. Come in and have a chair massage. But if they could have an education at the same time about something like that,
sure,
it could make a difference in someone's life.
Yeah, we see that those adjustments happen all the time.
We got to get back to nature. You know, years ago, I was going through a really tough time. And I was waking up in the morning angry. And I'm like, I can't do this. So I go out and I walk my dog. I live on Lake Seminole. I go out on the dock. I say my prayers, say, tell me what to do today because I don't have a clue.
Mm-hmm.
Just guide me or wherever. And then every morning I take a picture of the sunrise or a flower or a bird or a duck. And I post it to Facebook and I say, good morning, Seminole. And now I send it to Bay News 9 and they put it on probably like 5 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
But then I also separately text it to 40 different people with a Bible verse. Well, every morning I wake up looking for something beautiful and I find it in 5 minutes, and I get to share it with the world for free.
Yeah.
What a way to go.
And it's how amazing is that? And it's a gift every day.
And I've been doing this for 14 years now, and I walk around my property. I know what flowers bloom when. I know what's going on, what's going on. And it's really interesting how, and the more attention you pay to it, the more you see it.
Right.
So like I'll be in a parking lot, and in the asphalt, there's one little yellow flower coming up there.
Yep.
So,
and that's probably a native.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Also, I know that, when we built our house, the law is that you have to plant 6 native trees. And it's amazing what are native and what aren't.
Mm-hmm.
Well, how do people know that usually?
The builders know which ones. Oak is one of them, and portocarpus. And
Portocarpus, not native, but yeah, oaks
they
are
said
definitely.
it was.
Liars.
And then they said that, is it the cabbage palm that's our native?
Cabbage palm, yes.
But 2 of those make 1 tree. They have to plant 6, and 2 of those equal 1.
Oh, okay.
Because they don't hold the soil.
I don't understand that.
They don't hold
they
the
don't
soil.
they don't count as 1 when they plant them. You have to plant 2 in order to count as 1 tree.
Yeah, and you need 6.
Yeah. But the cabbage palm is actually the #1 pollinator source in Florida for pollinators.
Really?
#1.
Also, they're good, right?
It's a huge benefit for our ecosystem. And when those things are blooming, there's so many pollinators that use them. And we talked about honeybees earlier, but that's a non-native bee into the Americas. So we have over 300 species of native bees in Florida. And those species, most of them don't have stingers. Most of them, they don't make honey. They don't live in a hive. They're not protecting a queen. So they're not coming after you. All they're interested in is doing their job as pollinators. And so if you're not a flower, they move on. But most of them are so super docile. They don't pay any attention to us, but they live in leaf litter, which we're so quick to rake away. Better to kind of rake it back into the beds, let it break down. It's natural fertilizer for our sandy soil. So you don't have to fertilize because that breaks down naturally. And all the microbes and other creatures that are in the ground help break it down.
Do what they're supposed to do.
And they help the plants. So everything kind of has a purpose. It's kind of, if we step back and just say, what is the purpose of that creature? What is its job? And
how can I put it to use?
Right. Or just let it do its job. Yeah. You don't even have to always do much. You just let it do its thing.
Now, do builders and take this into account?
Very few.
They do it to trees. They have to. It's a law.
Very, very few really think about it. I think if they're forced to do things, they'll do them. It's going to be a process to get, these kind of things changed, and there's HOAs that are changing. The rules are changing.
Because it's not going to cost that much more money or anything to do it the proper way.
It's actually less expensive.
There you go.
It's less expensive.
There you go.
So, and then the plants last a lot longer. You're not having to spend all kinds of money. Not to mention, at some point, with all these water restrictions, we're constantly getting it now 1 day a week. Do we really want to be using the water we're going to need to drink on lawns that don't serve any purpose?
Yes, let's talk about the lawns. When you said earlier about they don't serve any purpose.
Well, they're just wall-to-wall carpet. Things heat up. They're not. They are very thirsty. They're very thin. So when I say wall-to-wall carpet, they're very thin. You can see them in rolls, right? They just roll them out. The root systems are not very deep. So consequently, that's why you have to constantly water them. They are not native, so they need chemicals in order to keep pests away and to keep them looking green. And most of the time in the wintertime, they don't look so green anyway.
What's your option?
Well, there's a lot of ground covers that are native that can work very well, and then they provide benefits to the ecosystem. And the root systems are much deeper. They provide erosion control, which is really important.
So, for instance,
like frog fruit is one, handles full sun. Sunshine mimosa is very popular.
What does it look like? Does it look like grass?
It doesn't look like it's not blades of grass. It's a plant that kind of crawls and fills in.
Okay.
And like the villages, there's a lawn in the villages that I use a lot in my presentations where they've converted their entire lawn space to frog fruit, and they keep it edged and mowed. They mow once a year and they edge about every 6 or 8 weeks. And that's all they need to do. And it looks very neat, but it's blooming all year because these plants bloom. And so you're providing host plants for 3 different butterflies, and they don't eat like a monarch does. They don't strip everything down. You don't even notice they're there. Other than as far as caterpillars are concerned and munching on plants, you don't notice that. But you see the movement, and they're also pollinator resources for lots of other creatures.
Interesting.
So it's very popular. The maintenance is extremely low. You're not having to water once you establish the plants.
Yeah, and you don't have to mow.
Once a year.
That's crazy.
And that's just if you want to keep that perfectly even look.
How it looks
and
like
it,
that.
And it looks nice. And you just keep your mower like high.
Colored flowers? Are they colored?
The frog fruit is a kind of purple with little white flowers, whitish pink around the outside. And then, it'll grow in just about, it needs sun. It doesn't do as well in partial shade or shade. There's other things that can be planted in those cases. Sunshine mimosa is very, very popular. Same kind of idea as far as mowing and maintenance. And you just kind of keep it trimmed to where you want it to be.
So if people have questions, they should come see you.
Sure.
They should come see you. And do you ever do any kind of like gardening clubs or anything?
We have a membership group with our venue. I do go out to garden clubs and do presentations. Sometimes garden clubs come in for field trips as well. It's very eye-opening for them because most garden clubs are very focused on exotic plants because that's what everybody's familiar with.
Right.
So it is a big conversion.
Very interesting.
To learning the natives.
But that must make you excited when you see that you educated somebody about it.
It is. It's fun. And the light bulbs, and when they really start to embrace it and understand how meaningful it is to just make a difference. And if everybody does a small part and create these corridors, it really goes a long way.
Yeah.
And what I find is once people start attracting some of this movement to their yard and they start understanding it, they want to do more.
Yeah.
My dad is not a gardener. He's a caregiver, but he's not a gardener. He could never understand why my mother and I love this so much. What do you get out of this? And I try to explain it. And he was taking care of a tomato plant for his neighbor. And benefit was he got the tomatoes, right?
Yeah, that's a good deal.
And I said, well, let me give you the Everglades tomato. It tastes way better, and you don't have to do anything to it. And the tomatoes are very small. They're a little smaller than a cherry tomato. So I gave it to him, and the first couple tomatoes he got off of it, he says, what am I supposed to do with these? They're so small. I said, just wait for it. You're going to have more tomatoes than you know what to do with. And then he had a bunch, so he's sharing them with everybody. And now they've downsized into a smaller place, so I did their butterfly garden for them. And he's telling me all the time about the species that are showing up. He knows the butterflies, he knows the hummingbird, he knows the bees. And he had not a care about this in the world. But he's going out there and sending me pictures every day, and then he's learning the butterfly species, and he gets excited about, oh, we got a new one today. What's this?
It's exciting.
So if my dad can do it, anybody can, and he doesn't have to do any maintenance. He'll send me a picture. What do I need to do with this? I say, you don't have to do anything.
Yeah, so you have somebody you can ask. It's good, though.
Yeah.
Because I think sometimes people throw plants away that they shouldn't throw away either.
Well, a lot of times they think plants are dead because they go dormant.
They're sleeping.
Yeah, and you just got to let them be.
Yeah, they have something on the phone where that you take a picture of it and it tells you it doesn't need water, it needs whatever. Baking
but sometimes
soda,
it says it needs like Coca-Cola or something.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Great. Some of them.
I don't know anything that needs Coca-Cola.
No, I don't mean it. Clean the toilet, maybe.
Cheers.
Yeah, my husband likes it too. But,
yeah.
It's my coffee.
That's interesting. Okay, right now we need to hear from our wonderful partners, so don't go away. We'll be right back on Connecting Caregivers Radio.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Choosing the right chiropractor is an important choice to make. Located in Seminole, the Alexander Spine Center team is trained on the latest chiropractic treatments and technologies. At Alexander Spine Center, you'll find chiropractic and physical therapy care that is safe, effective, and a natural approach to pain and other health-related issues. Chiropractic unlocks your body's potential and natural healing process to ensure your life is a healthy life. We treat clients from the womb to the tomb. Call 727-397-3000 for a free consultation today, or visit our website at www.alexanderspinecenter.com.
They take good care of me twice a week, so check them out.
Arden Courts is not just a place to live. It's a place to call home. Residential living combined with quality caregiving. This is the philosophy behind Arden Courts. Communities created exclusively for individuals with Alzheimer's disease and related dementia who would benefit from a safe and structured environment. For additional information about any of the unique services Arden Courts provides, call 888-478-2410 to locate a community nearest you. Inquire about our educational seminars, resource library, or support groups, or simply feel free to ask questions you may have about Alzheimer's and related dementias. At Arden Courts, we know, we understand, and we can help because memory care is all we do. Remember, call 888-478-2410 for additional information about any of the unique services Arden Courts provides.
We believe the power of the human body and mind can do amazing things, and that tapping into that power, not just tricking it with a temporary disguise, is possible. Superpatch technology uses a special pattern and vibrotactile technology to help you go from feeling blah to hurrah. Now, once the Superpatch is in contact with your skin, it triggers a neutral response in the brainstem that helps you tackle your daily problems head on. Whether you're struggling with pain, balance, stress, or focus, we have a solution that might be right for you. With Superpatch's 30-day money-back guarantee, you have nothing to lose and everything to gain.
Hi, this is Linda Burhans, the gal who cares for the caregivers. I started using the Liberty Patch over 3 years ago. I used to be a tripper, but since wearing a Liberty Patch, I haven't tripped once. The Liberty Patch is proven to reduce the risk of falling by up to 8 times. And as we all know, if you prevent the fall, you prevent the call. Don't wait until it's too late. Preventative solutions are the answer.
Superpatch does not claim to diagnose, treat, or cure illness. Superpatch is FDA registered. To receive 25% off your first order, go to sticktoit.info. That's sticktoit.info and learn more.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Oh, and we're back. And I love that Superpatch. Superpatch just recently came out with the new patch.
Thank you. I didn't use it yet because I'm feeling boosty enough.
So the best thing I think about the boost patches, because none of the patches have any drug in them, is one of my girlfriends has stopped drinking those Monster drinks and the Dunkin' Donuts and all that stuff just to get through the day. And she said, I'm on the boost patch now. I put the boost patch on one day. She goes, I have to remember to take it off before I go to bed, though.
Yeah, I guess you wouldn't sleep.
Yeah. She said, but it doesn't make you speedy or anything. It just makes you firm. So yeah, it's all good. So I love everything you're telling me about this, and I would love for caregivers to get more involved in their gardens with their loved ones. Years ago, there was a woman who was in my support group, and she took care of her mom first, and her mom passed away, and then she went back to North Carolina, South Carolina, whatever. And then she came back and she contacted me and she said, I'm back. I'm now taking care of my aunt. And her aunt was her godmother. And her aunt said, because she just wanted to be in the garden, because whenever she was in the garden, she felt like she was closest to God. But her aunt was not able to go in the garden anymore. So this woman contacted all the friends and all the loved ones that always saying, what can I do? What can I do? And asked them to all send pots with bulbs. And they all sent pots with bulbs. And every day they planted another one, planted in the house.
Mm-hmm.
She goes in, there was probably like 30 of them, Linda. And when the final one bloomed, the next day my aunt passed away.
Mm-hmm.
She said, but I took them all back to South Carolina, North Carolina, wherever it is, and now I have built a garden in her memory.
Oh, wow, that's wonderful.
So how cool is that? Just think about the things that we can do, the things that we can do with our loved ones at their age, and we think we can't do anything with them.
There's a lot of ways you can incorporate things. I mean, when we do butterfly garden in a pod class, we do it inside. My mother was able to come and sit at the table and put the things together, and of course she says, well, can I do another one?
Yeah.
So she was so excited to get her hands dirty, and it was at a table, and there's just lots of ways that it can happen without having to go outside and kneel down and get in the ground. So you can still get the same benefits in playing in the soil and potting up some things. And
not so and so. And some of the senior communities now, you see, they have areas where people can plant or people can do woodwork, whatever.
Right.
And we should celebrate that.
Absolutely.
We should celebrate. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show today.
You. Me too.
Tell us again your website.
So our website is butterflytampa.com.
Thank you so much. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Yes, next time you see it.
It'll be after Christmas.
Yeah.
Think about what's most important. You know what it is. Hang out with your family. Hang out with your friends. And just be kind to one another. Tune in next week for another fabulous show. Remember, God loves you all the time, and have a delicious day.